Yeah, he certainly has. I think, of course, firstly, his performances over the last 12 months speak for themselves and his impact on the team. But as I've said before, his contribution to the culture here day to day is also really important. And we're really happy to have him for another year at least. And I know Massimo's happy to be settled, and he can just keep continuing now with his football. Yeah, there's certainly nothing to report as of yet. Again, the club are continuing to work hard within the means that we have. As I keep saying, but there's nothing going to be done by tomorrow. That's for sure. We're still hopeful that we can add to the squad by next week, and we feel like we need to. So I know that the club will do everything they can to make that happen. Losing George, heightens the need in a certain position. But other than that, the January window is traditionally not an easy one. Most players who would be attractive to us are either important at their current clubs or attractive to a lot of other clubs as well. As I said, we have limitations within financial fair play that reduce the market that we can attract players from, and that's a normal process really. So you always want to do things as early as you can in each transfer window, of course, especially in January because the season started. Pleased that we managed to do Jeremy and Lewis early in the window, and they've already had an impact on the team. And other than that, the other positions that we want to recruit in, we're going to have to keep working very hard up until the last day of the window. Yeah, deepest passion is for coaching and improving players, and my focus will always be with the players who are in the building and trying to improve and get the best out of them. But part of trying to develop a football club, whether it's as a manager or in other roles, is that you need to continually analyse the squad and look to improve the squad where possible. So we're doing that, and we've made some good decisions in that regard over the last 2 years. Not every move that you make is going to work out, but you want to have a process that you follow to. You want to make decisions in a rational way. You want to make decisions both to have a short-term impact, but also decisions that will help and protect the club in the longer term. And that's how we continue to work. And there's full agreement on that from all stakeholders within the football club, and full understanding of where we're at and what we can and cannot do. And we're working together on it in a good way, and we're again still hopeful that we'll be able to add to the squad in the way that we want to. Yeah, we've given them the full respect that they deserve. They've won 6 games to get to this point. They've knocked out in the last 2 rounds a team doing really well in League 2, and knocked out a team who are doing really well in League 1 in the last round. And there's no doubt they'll, I'm sure, want to take another step on top of that. So they've certainly deserved the respect and the terrific run that they've done getting to this point, and we've paid them that respect with the preparation. Of course, we've watched all the relevant games as we normally would do, and analysed them as best we can, and tried to be aware of their strengths and their weaknesses. It's always a bit more challenging when you're playing a team from that division, partly because the transfer windows work different, to be honest. You can move in season, so they've had quite a high turnover of players. They've got quite a few who they've brought in who are cup tied for this game. They've lost some who were doing really well for them, and they've made some new signings as well. So the turnover tends to be a little bit higher, and that means you've got a little bit more research to do. But no, we've prepared as well as we can for the game, and I think the job that George and his team have done fully deserves that.
Just going back to the transfer window, you talked about some clubs don't necessarily want to let people go until they get some in. Was that a part of the consideration in letting Freddy go to Charlton? You've let him go before, you've got people in. What was the thinking there?
No, of course it was a consideration, and there's a balance to be made in decisions like that. Freddy's been an important member of the squad over the last 18 months, and we're still playing minutes on a weekly basis. In terms of the decision to let him go to Charlton the second half of the season, we all felt it was important that he played and started games now in the second half of the season, and you don't want to go too long in your career without doing that, and it's probably 12 months really where he hadn't started many games. And beyond that, we felt like it was the right thing to do, a necessity for us really to free up the numerical space in the squad, and B, from a financial point of view, to be able to bring in players to help the squad. It was important to recoup some of that as well. So there was a good offer from Charlton for the club, and from Freddy's point of view, and it was a decision to make to let him move on, and hopefully that will help us be successful in the next week of the window.
And you've referenced financial fair play limits a few times in these discussions. How frustrating is that for you as a manager? Because it's a club that's got plenty of money behind it from the ownership, we know, selling out the stadium every week, record shirt sales, commercial deals, but there's a limit on what you can do in terms of spending. As the manager, how do you view that situation?
Yeah, I think of course there's a little bit of a frustration there, but I think there's lots of managers in different clubs who would attest to that, and it's not just in the Championship, you're seeing it in leagues above at the moment. But it's certainly relevant to our position, and is a really important factor of how you navigate the Championship really. There's very real limitations on what you can spend and the losses that you can make in any given year, which make it a real challenge, certainly for a club in our position, to be as aggressive in the market as you would like to be, and you're competing of course against clubs who come into the season with squads in a different perspective really, and then with the addition of payments on top of that as well. So it makes it a challenge. It is what it is. We everyone is aware of the rules. I think at some point in time they will change. If I'm honest, that's my perspective on it. I think they will be adjusted, and it's the reality that we're operating in. So again, within the club, everyone's there's a good understanding. There's a shared acceptance of that's the position that we're in, and our focus is just making the very, very best of what we can do.